everybody, and welcome back to the Little Miss Funeral YouTube channel. My name is Lauren Leroy, and I am a licensed funeral director in the state of New York. If you are new here, I would just like to take a moment to say I would totally appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any videos that I put out in the future, as well as at the end of this video, hit the like button if you enjoyed it, as well as commenting below any sort of comments, questions, or concerns that you might have relating to the funeral industry or death care in general for inspiration for videos that you'd like to see me put out in the future. So yes, the topic of today's video is medical examiners, and basically how we as funeral directors work with them. So a medical examiner is somebody who's trained in pathology to investigate the cause of passing of a person when it's like an unusual or a suspicious circumstance. So if somebody has been found deceased and it's ruled to be possibly a suicide or a homicide, a medical examiner is going to be brought in to determine the actual cause of passing. Oftentimes, the way that they're going to determine the cause of passing is to do an autopsy. And an autopsy is basically like this extremely invasive procedure in which they are going to open up the human body and honestly just try to test and observe all of our organs. They do a lot of toxicology reports with blood to see if drugs and different substances might have been in a person's system. So it's just a person who investigates and gets to the root of the cause of death. Oftentimes, if somebody does pass away from a less than natural cause, like a self-inflicted cause or a cause from somebody else, it can take quite a while to get a death certificate with the cause of passing on it, because that has to come from the medical examiner since they were entrusted into their care. And oftentimes, the medical examiner has to wait for the reports to come back to let them know exactly what happened. In my community, we are seeing a lot of drug overdoses. We've been seeing a lot of drug overdoses for the past couple of years. So there's many instances where a person has passed away and we know what happened, their family knows what happened, but we may not know the exact mixture of the drug that was used. So it would always say pending investigation until those reports would come back and the medical examiner could write down on the certificate exactly what was found in their systems. Anytime a person's transported into the care of a medical examiner does not automatically mean that the person's going to have a full autopsy. There are things such as partial autopsies or just toxicology reports that could be completed, or sometimes it's just a examination that they're doing on the dead body to see if there's any markings or incisions or injection points where it could be deemed a suspicious cause of death. Funeral directors work with medical examiners obviously when a person has passed away. So it cannot just be like a suspicious circumstance, but it might also be an instance where a funeral professional is working with a medical examiner because somebody passed away and they were not under the care of a physician. The cause of death could have been completely natural, but at the time of a passing, we need somebody to sign off on the death certificate as to the cause of death. And a person who has to sign off on a death certificate is going to be a nurse practitioner, medical doctor, coroner, medical examiner. Basically, somebody has to sign their name stating this is what the person died from. And if there's not a physician in a person's life, we can't go to a medical doctor to have them sign that signature. So oftentimes a person would be transported to the medical examiner so once again they can investigate and find out why a person passed, even if it's something completely natural or what we identify as natural, like cardiac arrest. A medical examiner is not automatically a funeral director and vice versa. Like funeral directors, medical examiners are always on call, because a passing can occur, obviously, as we're aware, any time of day, any day of the year. Medical examiners are often a great resource for funeral directors when somebody has passed away from a very traumatic experience. So there are plenty of times where we get a phone call at the funeral home where a person has passed away and we don't necessarily know why they passed away. The family's just calling to inform us of it, and we don't always dig into like the nitty-gritty on a phone conversation, just because it's a very emotional process. People don't want to be calling us, so we just kind of want to talk about the very basic things that we have to talk about and prepare the person to come in and meet with us so we can go over things in greater detail. So oftentimes when I do hang up the phone with a family member, I will then immediately call the medical examiner if I know that they are in their care. Typically, one of the questions we ask when a person passed away is, where is your loved one? And they would know if they're in the care of a medical examiner, because the medical examiner would have come out to the house or the place where they passed away to take them into their care. So when I call the medical examiner, I often ask them what happened. And if it was something like a suicide that may have been more traumatic, not necessarily like a drug overdose where there's going to be something traumatic where there's going to be more trauma to a part of their body, such as their face, their head, their upper torso, something that could truly impact the viewing or visitation of a deceased, I want to talk to the medical examiner and just find out what's going on. So if something had happened like a gunshot wound, oftentimes the medical examiner can be that first person in line to tell us exactly what happened. It's a nice way for us to have a conversation with somebody who is not emotionally attached to the person who did pass away and can honestly tell us what is going on and what it is that we are going to be faced with. So in conclusion, medical examiners do extremely important work when it comes to caring for somebody who has passed away and just determining the cause of their death. I do hope that this video answered some questions in regards to medical examiners, and once again, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And I will see you all next week, Wednesday.